SOS, State of the School. I'm going on to the 37th video in this series, and I'm going to manage, I think, to get away from windmills and to water wheels in this video. But I'm always stuck a little bit on the last subject. There's a video I looked for. I found it, but I wasn't quite satisfied with it. But anyway, where they actually dismantle in Germany, Hagen, Hagen, where they dismantle a traditional old windmill piece by piece with a crane, and then they take it to another hill top, and they put it back up there. Uh, I don't know if you put a comment and you really would like to see that. I can find it again. I just can only put so much on. Another thing to tell you about windmills is for this one down in the meadow, I started to build a model of it. And here's the first one I built, rather than try to, figure out what am I going to do. And I can see I was making this six-sided, and but I wasn't satisfied with that. This is the one that I was satisfied with and would be ready to go to work on it if I, when I have the time. One of my principles is to use nothing longer than 8 foot. I think I did that. Again, six-sided. This is where I would trim the sails, and the sails would be up here. It would be over a stack of very heavy tires right there in the middle, empty agricultural tires, farm tires, about 6 of them, stacked like a pyramid, and that would be a lot of the weight. So I wanted to show you that. Oh, kitty. Now, turning to water wheels. I'm sure I'll take at least 2 videos for this. I can remember, one thing about windmills, I remember on one of my trips taking children to Europe, I had some free time and I was in Holland, and I visited some little town that you could reach just by tram or something, and I was standing under one of those giant windmills that was very slowly turning, pumping water. It was something to see. Nobody was anywhere around it. It was very quiet, but the thing was monstrous and it was turning. Well, I have another memory of a water wheel when I was just a boy, and I don't even know if I might have been I probably was an early teenage boy when it was in my hometown, Roaring Spring, which is only about 20 miles, 25 miles north of here. That's where I was born, and that's where my grandfather lived, Grandpa Jim. And that's a wonderful little town. And it had a mill right by a paper mill. And then for years, many, many years, there was a paper mill there. But even before that, there was this grist mill, water powered. It had a huge water wheel, huge. And I remember standing there as a boy. It was right by where the police station was and probably still is, and by a department store too. And you could stand there and watch the water coming out from under the street and going over this huge wheel. And I just thought it was an overshot wheel. I thought it was so neat to see. That water came from the Roaring Spring. Roaring Spring is the name of that town, and it came in a big pipe to the paper mill. But originally it had just been to that mill. I remember it fondly. I found out they tore it down, but they tore it down lovingly, I think. They saved the timbers. I believe it was a team of Mennonite carpenters that did it when I asked. And it wasn't being used anymore anyway, and the water wheel had been replaced with a diesel engine. So there's a memory. All right, now water wheels. I'm not going to go into all the different kinds of them. I mean, there's overshot, undershot, and breast wheels. Those are the 3 you read about right away if you look up water wheels. Gravity water wheels, but there are turbines, there are Pelton wheels, there that are coming where the water comes from a nozzle and drives something very fast. Pelton wheels are very popular. Kitty, what's the matter? I think she's afraid of another cat, or he is. I of all the water wheels that I plan here, only one of them would involve a penstock. That is a pipe about that big around with about a 30-foot drop and plenty of water. It would effectively drive a Pelton wheel or some kind of an impulse wheel. And I would do that, well, partly for practical reasons. With a water wheel, the two things that determine its power are it's the height of the fall of the water and the volume of the water. And in the springtime here, there is so much water comes off this mountain. Normally, I'm beginning to worry that this drought is going to go right on through the spring because it's brutally cold right now. But that's not the problem. Problem is we haven't had much snow either. And, that's kind of another matter. But anyway, I have the plans. I can build. Water wheels are not so hard to build as windmills. Windmills are tricky things. The business of not the tower, not building the tower so much, but the business up here, and to take that power down. Unless you have just a generator like the turbines do, that's just spinning the generator. That's pretty simple. Then it just goes down with a cable. But when you're staying with mechanical power, that's another matter. You've got to have a wallower. I think they call it a gear, because they don't go like that. Not efficiently, not effectively. They're always tilted. It's a little hard to explain why. And so from that tilt, you've got to take that power and then take it on down to whatever you want to drive. That's a windmill. Now water wheels, if it's a vertical wheel, well, your axle or your wheel itself is turning, and you can have gears on the wooden gears, or even a belt, a leather belt or rubber belt or a rope around it to take that power, a rope drive to take that power down to something and speed it up. It's so much simpler. And that's what I'm going to do. And I was saying that there's overshot, undershot, and breast. Well, there's also a kind of a wheel called a pitchback. And I think that's what I want to do. Everyone loves the overshots because you see everything going. And there's at least one of the sites where I'll make it be an undershot, or I think it'll be an undershot, not a breast, an undershot, I think. But most of the rest of them will be overshot. And what I'm going to do in, I think, my next video is I'll just list them off. I think there's 10 places where I have planned to build a water wheel of some kind. Bye for now.